Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher Podcast. Happy Thursday, April 17th, 2025. What is going on? Hope everybody's doing well. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Shout out to our Tampa Bay Rowdies. It is a victory Thursday because of you. Unfortunately, the Rays weren't able to score a run last night against the Boston Red Sox. More on both of those teams here in a bit. Lightning, the regular season finale tonight up there in NYC against the Rangers. A lot of great things going on today on the program. Let's go through it all, baby. Let's go through it all. We'll talk Rays. We'll talk Lightning at 12:30 today. Our next edition of Recher Reveals. You hear that? There's like something metal in there. Metal? What the hell? Don't they know not to give me sharp objects? The University of Tampa baseball team, and you see the logo right here, boom, right above my head. Coach Joe Urso, Sammy Militello, Jose Jimenez, and the entire crew. You guys will be featured at 12:30 today. It's our next edition of Recher Reveals. If you want to be a team that's featured, if you know somebody, and we're talking high school, we're talking college, we're talking if you're travel ball team, it doesn't even have to just be baseball. It could be whatever sport that you want. Hit me up, Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up. I had my buddies, the Russo guys, Tampa Catholic. They're going to be joining us as well. So go check us out. And, we will go from there. Good stuff. Let's see what else we have on the program today. 12:45, Travis Hunter. I want to talk about Travis Hunter and the NFL draft coming up here before you know it. 1 o'clock today, Rowdies defender Forrest Lasso is going to check in. What a huge win for the Rowdies last night. It went to 10 rounds of the penalty kicks. 10. Forrest was the last outfield player available before they would have had to have gone to the goalies. It was what a crazy game down there in Naples. The Battle of the Gulf, the Derby of the Gulf, they wanted to call it. Listen, Naples played really well. They're in USL League One. They're not even in the same league as the Rowdies, but the Rowdies found a way. It was 1-1. A goal from Pacifique Niangabire. That's a heck of a name right there. Go look it up, rowdysoccer.com. Go get you a jersey at rowdysoccer.com. Get some tickets for this weekend's matchup. And then the big announcement today that the Rowdies' next opponent in the U.S. Open Cup. Now, the U.S. Open Cup, it is the MLS, USL Championship, which the Rowdies are in, and then USL League One. And it was announced today that the Rowdies are going to take on Orlando City, the MLS team from down I-4. This is the first time that they played each other in 11 years, and that game will be at Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete. That place is going to be packed. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be either May 6th or May 7th, so a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. We'll give you all that information when we get it, but a huge, huge outcome for the game last night and announcement. This is as big as it's going to get. Outside of playing Inter Miami with Lionel Messi, this is as big as it's going to get for the Rowdies. Taking on Orlando City, that's the closest team here when it comes to the highest division of soccer in this country. That's going to be a good one, and it'll be just a couple of days after my birthday, so I cannot wait for that. Also, there's a lot of toxicity right now in the National Basketball Association. I'm a basketball guy, always have been, always will be, but it's just so toxic, and I want to tell you why. once again, just more and more stories continue to come out where it's turning people off. I wish that the NBA would watch one of the segments that we have on basketball on this program, because they would learn a thing or two about how they're alienating people on a daily freaking basis. The negativity, and it's overwhelming. And if you are not invested in the product casually, if your team is not in it, you don't have a dog in the fight, why the hell? They're not getting any casual viewers. None. Because of the crap that they consistently put out there and the way that the sport is covered. It's suffocating. It's nauseating. It's just terrible. We'll get into that at 1:15, and then at 1:30, joining us as he does every Thursday at 1:30, it is Eddie Encina from the Tampa Bay Times. We're going to talk about the Lightning game tonight. Game 82 against the New York Rangers. Who is going to play? Also, looking forward to the series against the Florida Panthers. We don't know quite yet when that game is going to be. For all intents and purposes, I think there's people out there that are assuming that it's going to be Sunday. John Cooper said as much after morning skate the other day, but we don't necessarily know. Could be Sunday, could be Monday. My money is on Sunday, but we shall see. We spoke about the box that we're going to open up for Recher Reveals after the Tampa Bay Rowdies. It was Steinbrenner High School. And shout out to Coach Chenzo Scanio and Steinbrenner making a run. That's exactly what they've done. These guys have made a run, and they are in the district finals. This is a team, beating a team like Gaither, coached by our pal Nelson North, Kevin Cash's alma mater. Not many people gave Steinbrenner a chance to win that game, and that's exactly what they're able to do. They're in the district finals tonight, 7 o'clock at Plant High School. It's Steinbrenner, it's Plant. That is going to be one hell of a matchup. And if you're trying to follow along when it comes to our district champions, and shout out to Jesuit, who won their district championship last night as well. I think it's 13 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. All that information, you want to follow any of it, 813preps.com. Our guy, Jared Guthrie, and the whole crew over there does a wonderful job. And shout out to Mike Communis, one of the guys that helps out over there, does a great job taking pictures. Mike Communis, yesterday was his birthday. Mike's a great guy, so give him a follow on social media as well. All right. Rays with a huge 4-game series starting tonight at Steinbrenner Field. It'll be Will Warren for the New York Yankees, towing the rubber for the Bronx Bombers against Taj Bradley, 2-0 with a 3.71 ERA for Taj. This is going to be a very, very unique series because you are going to have a ton. You thought that you were going to get a large Yankee contingent at Tropicana Field. And if you thought that, you were right. Now you're going to their minor league complex. Now there's only 10, 11,000 fans. That is, I think, tonight and this weekend. And we had Neil Solons on the program yesterday. If you missed that chat, it's up on our channel right here. I think tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, I think especially if these games are close, there's going to be an intensity. It's going to be ratcheted up just because of the environment. You heard it the last couple of days from the Boston fans who always travel well. They always inhabit, whether it's Tropicana Field or Steinbrenner Field. I look at a situation like the Yankees coming into town, and I think it's going to be hot. And I really hope that the Rays raise their level, bring it on up, and play this game with a little bit of, intensity and a little bit of heat and a little bit of vitriol. We saw it a couple of years back when CC Sabathia obviously was going through, his thing. And we know that there was the friction, to say the least, between the Rays and the Yankees. I think that's good for the sport. And I also think that's where the Rays can really have that kind of underdog, like chip on your shoulder mentality. Too much of this nice guy and everything. Everything's going to be okay. No, I want to see a little bit more fire. I want to see a little bit more energy. I want to see a little bit more passion. I want to see a little bit more FU out of the Tampa Bay Rays. Does anybody else want that? Well, I of course want to hear from you, and we invite you into the conversation, the video chat. We are here. If you want to join in, give us a call right now. There's the StreamYard link, StreamYard.com/H6 EPPSMI39. Take that link, copy and paste it in your phone or on your laptop. Get into the chat room, and I will get you on. What do you think of the Rays' play so far this season? And do you think they need a little bit more of a FU type mentality, a little bit more of a grit? And we joke about it saying like we need more dog. They have some dog in them. It's not like they don't try. You have a bunch of guys, 29-year-old rookies, guys that have persevered. I'm not taking anything away from those guys, but I always like when there's a little bit of nasty. There's a little bit of a nasty. And that's part of the reason why you like a guy like Baker Mayfield, right? It's one thing that he's a good quarterback and he makes good throws, but there's a nasty to him. He gets up in guys' faces. I like that. Set the tone. Don't just be limp. Don't just kind of just meander along like, oh, it's 162 games and blah, blah, blah. We'll enjoy it while we're here. And let's make the best of a bad situation or a unique situation. Like, I want to see somebody from the Rays grab this game by the scruff of its neck and say, hell no, we are not going to accept this. We are going to win 3 of 4. This is our home ballpark in 2025. And it's not going to be easy for you to come in here and try to beat us. Last night, 1-0 loss to Boston, 5 hits. Games like that, it's not just that they lose, it's how they lose. And I think when you look at 1-0 losses, God. I think people will be okay like the night before. You lose to Boston, 7-2 late, you battle back, you end up losing 7-4. You understand they're not going to win every game. But after that contest, you're facing a lefty yesterday. You go all right-handed lineup, and you only are able to muster 5 hits. The one thing when we look back at the 2 Rays teams that we always remember so fondly, the 2 World Series teams, the teams that went to the championship, there was such a grit about that team. We remember the issues in the dugout, right? When BJ Upton and Longo were getting into it, right? Remember Johnny Gomes and the Yankees and all that stuff. And I'm not saying the same year, like just that era. And then even the team back here in 2020, where it was never a dull moment with Randy Arozarena, right? And for all the talk of like, well, Randy's not doing this, or he was never going to be that guy that we saw in the postseason. I get that, but Randy also brought an entertainment value. He also brought an energy that I think this team really needs to find that guy that is going to, and mind you, you have to lead from the front. You cannot just be a guy that's a bench player and just does it every once in a while. You need a guy that's going to be able to lead from the front every single game you're going out there and you're playing like your hair is on fire. I know that people are looking at this team wondering, what are they all about? Are they a team that's just going to give us that same type of putrid performance offensively like we saw last night? Are you going to be the team that we saw a couple of games ago where they were, scoring touchdowns against the Boston Red Sox? I'll take something in the middle. We know pitching and defense is their bread and butter. But offensively, the excitement that these young guys, the Meisners, the Mangums, even, some of the guys that have been there a while, like a Caballero, like what we see from Jonathan Aranda, it's there. So I'm not really willing to throw this season out and think like, oh, this is just going to be the first of many 1-0 losses. I'm not willing to say that. But I do think there needs to be an adjustment overall when it comes to how this team deploys their lineups. Instead of being so analytically driven, like there's a game last night, and I know you may want to get him off his feet. You may, if you're going to try to find an off day for him, you're going to do that. But in no form or fashion am I sitting Jonathan Aranda last night. Not going to happen. There has to be certain guys that you keep in the lineup. Like, all right, now we're going to get our right-handers a chance. Like, why? There's no guarantee that those guys are going to do the job. Jonathan, there's got to be certain guys that are in your lineup regardless. Maybe once in a while. Are you playing the Yankees this weekend? So you're going to face Carlos Rodon and Max Fried. Okay. Maybe you sit him against one of those guys. Why you sit him against the lefty last night? I don't understand that. Just the rhyme or reason sometimes. You're taking these guys out. I mean, you're facing Newcomb, the lefty, 4 2/3, 4 hits, no runs, two walks, and 4 Ks. As soon as he comes out, I know you, right? Get Lau in there, get Aranda in there, and Jonathan did get 2 ABs last night, but Mead was 0 for 2. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. At what point is a guy too good for the analytics? For a team that does struggle scoring runs, like you don't take, oh, you're facing a right-hander, take Yandy out. I know he's got to be in there against righties and lefties, and I know it's a different thing between righties. You know, when a lefty starts, that's when you want to try to get your left-handers out of the lineup. I mean, I get that, but if you're a team, like you're 2 weeks into the season, why are we already trying to find ways to get Jonathan Aranda out of the lineup? His OPS is over 1,100. That guy is hitting against righties, hitting against lefties, hitting against the guys that throw underhand. I don't care who is on the mound. I don't care if it's Randy Johnson mixed with Eddie Feiner, the big train Walter Johnson. It doesn't matter. I am not going to look for ways to get Jonathan Aranda out of the lineup. I don't care who is on the mound. He has to be out there. You're 2.5 weeks into the season. If you want to sit him against Frito Rodon this weekend against the Yankees. But to have him not start yesterday when your team is looking to score runs, when you have multiple guys in the lineup that are hitting under 200, I don't get it. I don't get it. This isn't the middle of the season when you're looking to try to get a guy a day off. The Rays have to adjust. You just give games away like that. By just, all right, well, it's a lefty, so we're going to go all righties. Like, if the righties can't hit their weight, if they can't hit their water, if they fell out of a boat, why the hell are they in the lineup? Jonathan Aranda needs to be in the lineup every single day. He is hotter than a freaking orange bonnet pepper right now. Why is he coming out of the lineup? I don't get it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And these are the kind of things. These are the kind of things that piss people off. When you're starting to come around when it comes to the Rays. They're coming around. All right, man, I like it. We know we're pitching a defense. We got some guys that hit. We got some guys that are going to give it everything they have. And then you get into a situation where there's a lefty, all righties, regardless of what they're hitting. All right. It's 1-0. Score any runs. There's certain guys that need to be in there all the time. When you're a team that's struggling to score runs, when Josh Lowe is not here, when other guys are banged up, Jonathan Aranda has earned it. Listen, this guy's been in the system for 10 years. Why is he not a guy that is in there every day? How come he is not getting the Yandy Diaz treatment? The Junior Cabanero treatment? Get him in the lineup. Frustrating as hell. I want this team to do well, man. I want it to do well. But I get people that text me and call me and people that are just so pissed off. And it's one thing if it's those, you have those friends, right? You have those friends that are pissed. They get pissed about everything, right? Doesn't matter what happens. They're always bitching and moaning about something, right? But I got friends that follow the Rays, that follow baseball, that aren't those guys and gals. And they're like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? You can question the offense because it's not up there. It's not top tier. It's not elite. Pitching and defense, the way that they go about things, you may not agree with it, but listen, the proof is in the pudding. Offensively, the fact that they're going to the well again, doing these same things, it's indefensible. And when you have a game like yesterday, like you can't, it's 1-0 game against a pitcher like that. Oh my God, look at that team's record going into the series. These are the games you got to win. So many people keep saying, oh, well, you know, this is the time of the season. They got to take advantage. They got to take advantage of everything. These home games. All right. Then do it. You got to win series. You just lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. Now you're facing the Yankees coming off of a big win yesterday against Kansas City. They know what that field is all about. Rays better be ready, man. I'm telling you. They better be on their P's and Q's tonight. Starting tonight. And looking at Taj Bradley, I like his demeanor. I like that he's the guy that's starting this game. And we take a look at the starting pitchers for this series. Again, Will Warren and Taj Bradley tonight. Tomorrow, Drew Rasmussen and Carlos Rodon. That's a 7:05 start. Saturday, 4:10 affair. Carlos Cookie Carrasco against Shane Baz. And then on Sunday at 1:40, Max Fried and his 3-0 record with a 1.88 ERA. And Ryan Pepio, 1-2 with a 4.91 ERA. Sunday against Max Fried. That's when I would have sat Jonathan Aranda. Not last night. Sunday against Fried. He's throwing fantastic. It's a Sunday afternoon game. Get him the hell out of the sun. That makes a lot more sense than not having him start last night. Sorry. All right, Lightning in action tonight at MSG against the New York Rangers. And these are what the lines look like today at Morning Skate. And this is from our friend Gabby Shirley. Gord, Point, and Kucherov on line 1. Line 2 is Anthony Cirelli centering Brandon Hagel to his left and Jake Gensel to his right. Nick Paul, the center on line 3 with Connor Geeky to his left and Gage Gonsalves on his right. Zemgus Girgensons and Cameron Atkinson. They are the 2 forwards for line 4. That looks like the Bolts will go 11-7 once again. Hedman and Moser, the first D pair, followed by McDonough and Chernak. And then you have Lilleberg, Perbix, and Radish, who was not on the ice today. Well, who wasn't on the ice today was no Luke Glendening, no Oliver Bjorkstrand, and no Mitchell Chaffee on the ice. So everyone else, including Cam Atkinson there, Cam's probably going to slot in, and we'll see what happens for game 1, whether it's Sunday or Monday. I really would have an issue with Cam Atkinson being in the lineup for game 1. They'll go 11-7. We know that. And, Jonas Johansson, first goalie off the ice, so he's going to start tonight for the Lightning. Vasilevsky is here, did skate, but JoJo was the first guy off the ice. No surprise there. No surprise that the starting goalie tonight would be Jonas Johansson. Can you imagine if Vazzy played tonight and he got hurt? Oh, my God, that would be the worst thing ever. The number one thing is going to be health. We've heard this from John Cooper for the last week and a half. We know going into these last 2 or 3 games, that was the most important thing ever. Making sure that you're healthy going into this playoff series against the Florida Panthers. And if you missed it, I came out the other day. Or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, what I learned from the Lightning game against the Panthers. And I know a lot of people out there may not have learned much of anything, but I got to be honest with you. I did learn some things about the Lightning, and I did learn some things about the Florida Panthers. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be the end-all, be-all, but how many times do you see guys, teams resting players and guys coming back from injury and them doing a good job? That's not smart. So everybody's like, oh, they're circumventing the cap. I don't care what they're doing. It doesn't matter. If those guys are not ready for game 1, they're screwed. Matthew Tkachuk, and you're playing with house money a little bit if you're Florida. You can lose those 2 games at home, and the series doesn't start until an away team picks up a dub. I don't know if Matthew Tkachuk, and I know he was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams yesterday, and I find it very unique that he has a lot of time to do all of these interviews the last couple of weeks, but yet he hasn't played a regular season game for the Florida Panthers. So he doesn't seem to be all that concerned. And listen, I think Matthew Tkachuk is vital. I think it's pivotal that he is at the forefront when it comes to promoting the game. He needs to be one of the faces of hockey if this game is going to grow. So I don't hate on that. I just think it's ironic that there's other teams out there that have star players that are hurt, but they're not lining up to do interviews. So, oh man, I want to get to this. Bart Hill just hold on, Bart. I saw what you just said, buddy. I want to make sure that I verify this real quick. Guys, bear with me. Some news coming down. I just want to make sure. All right, so this is from a bunch of people on. Oh man, this sucks. All right, so right now, police in Tallahassee are responding to reports of an active shooter in the area of the Florida State University Student Center at the Student Union. So everyone on campus urged to seek shelter. They're going to bring you the latest. Man, this sucks, bro. Active shooter has been reported near the Student Union in Florida State and Tallahassee. Reports of as many as 30 gunshots heard by students. Students are in rooms currently. Police are on the scene. Just looking at some of the videos. You got to be very careful when you're disseminating information like this. So just want to make sure that I'm letting everybody know. And man, yeah. Thoughts and prayers go out to everybody because we know. And thank you, Bart Hill, for letting me know. Fox just reported an active shooter on campus at FSU in Tallahassee. If you're watching this show right now, and I have a lot of my friends that, man, sucks. Yeah, your heart just sinks. We have friends that play ball there. We have friends that go to school there. Yeah, I can't. It sucks. Awful. The more information that comes out, we will definitely pass that along to you guys. So again, Fox just reported an active shooter on campus at FSU in Tallahassee. Damn. I will continue to keep an eye on this as the show goes on. But I want to make sure, get all the information. This is from WFLA. The reported shooter is located in the area of Student Union. As of 12:09, police are on the way to the scene. Those in the immediate area should seek shelter and lock and stay away from all windows and doors. Yeah, no doubt. If you have a friend or a loved one, friend or family or anybody out there that, go call who you got to call, text who you got to text. Check on your loved ones, man, because in situations like this, unfortunately, God, that's awful. Praying for everyone is right. Mike LeDuc sucks that JP received that cheap shot from an AHLer, so we lose the guy and the Panthers don't get punished with a suspension. Yeah, that hit yesterday or the other night, Tuesday night, from Jesse Puljujarvi. Again, a chicken shit hit is what I like to call it, because those are the type of hits where it's one thing if you're going to hit a guy and you're going to clean his clock and you're hitting them with a Scott Stevens type of thing. And, but when you hit a guy like Puljujarvi did, that is the kind of like, oh, well, I want to make contact, but I don't really want to make contact because I don't want anybody to kind of see it. Like, it's just, that's such bullshit. I hate that. You see that in sports sometimes where guys do like shady stuff like that, where it's almost like you want to hit the guy, but you don't want anybody to see it. Well, hey, numbnuts, you're playing it in a professional sports league and there's cameras everywhere. Everybody's going to see it. That's such like an internal type of thing where it's just speaks volumes of how a guy like that goes about his business. And yeah, he's not going to be part of the team anyway. So what does he care? And then when Paul Maurice was asked about the hit after the fact, it was like, oh, it's because we played so many games in so many days. Like, all right, buddy, we get it. We know that you're not going to go and, talk smack about your player and do all that stuff. I understand that, but like, call a spade. That was BS. And even Coop, when I asked him, he was like, what do you mean? What do I think? Like, he was not. I had to ask it, right? Somebody had to ask the question. What he thought about it. No place in hockey for that. Shout out to the Syracuse Crunch, 7 straight Calder Cup playoffs for those guys and the Lightning. How about it, man? To have the Orlando Solar Bears, the Syracuse Crunch, and the Tampa Bay Lightning all making the playoffs. It just shows you, man, there is a pipeline of really solid players. And just looking at some of the guys here, maybe 1 or 2 of those guys that are in the graphic, maybe they'll be called up, because I really don't think that they're going to go with Kim Atkinson in game 1 of the playoffs. He can't skate. He can't skate. So keep an eye on who gets called up. Is it the Dylan Dukes of the world? Is it, some of these other guys? I don't know. I got to be honest. It's tough to really focus on everything that's going on right now because of the active shooter on Florida State, and you're seeing the Tallahassee Democrat and Fox News, everybody. Damn, it sucks. Sucks. Prayers to everyone involved. Lady Evil, you got that right. All right. Let's flip the script. Let's have a little fun again. We'll keep you guys abreast of that situation here in a little bit, but we need to come up with like a theme song for the Recher. Who's ready for the next edition of Recher Reveals? And again, if you want to be one of these teams that sends a box in, has it opened up here on the program, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, on Facebook. Get that information. I'll send you the address and you can send a box this way. We already had a box open from our friends with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Also, with our friends at Steinbrenner High School, the Steinbrenner Warriors. District championship tonight against Plant. Good luck to Coach Scanio and Steinbrenner. All right, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Ready? All right, here we go. This might be the biggest box. Jeez. My goodness. I should probably should I cross out my address? Are you guys gonna steal my address? I don't trust you guys. So nobody knows. Crossing out. You never know, man. You gotta watch yourself here. Okay? Even though I'm moving in a couple weeks anyway. All right. You ready? There's metal in here. I know it. All right, let's get to it. Move all the stuff out of it. This is a big freaking box, man. All right. And, oh, jeez. There we go. Now we're cooking. This is like, you guys use the expensive tape at UC. My God, do I have to use my knife for this freaking tape? I do. All right, there we go. All right. Here we go. I hear the metal in there. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I was wondering if this in my mind, I'm like, there's no way that they're going to send me one of these. There's no way. It had to just been a limited run. There's no way they're going to send me one of those. Are you freaking kidding me? The 813 City Connect? Are you kidding me? Wow. With the 3-9 on the back. I love it. Oh my God. Joe, Sammy, Jose, you crazy son of a... Bro, this is the greatest. I said it and we showed it on the show. City Connect. Are you serious? You guys are the best. Oh my God. I can't believe you sent me this. I didn't think that there was any chance. Oh my God. All right. Golf tees and a poker chip. Look at these guys. I like that, baby. I like that. Oh man. Here we go. Oh my, what the hell? A golf towel? Look at this thing, man. This thing is badass. I didn't even know they made these. Golf towels? UT baseball, man. You can't beat this. Unbelievable. All right, what else we got? You guys, man, I'm telling you, you don't spare any expense. More tees. Dad's going to get one of these, Dad. Sending these to my dad. All right, this is the metal. We knew there was metal in here. Oh, man, look. 9-time national champions. UT, baby. Oh, this is sweet, dude. Oh, I love you guys. This is great. I'm running out of room. I am running out of room on my desk here. Oh my God, guys. Ring season. Look at that. The 9-time national champions These guys, man, I'm telling you, we're not done. We are not done. Get the top. We need the top. We need the top for the cup there. Oh, another 9-time national champion, baby. The nine-time. It's like Booker T in wrestling. 5-time. UT is the nine-time national champions, and we are not done. My God, these guys. Look at this bad boy. A Jordan polo. Bro, I tell you what, when I got my hats, I was so happy because I can't tell you how many people want a UT hat. And I got 3 of them now. And this, I'm going to be suited and booted. Oh my God. This is, you guys know I love hoodies. That is the kid. That's the New Yorker in me. A black hoodie is so near and dear to my heart. I love them. I'll wear it all the time. UT baseball, Evo Shield. Oh my God. Amazing. UT, the bet. Listen, you guys, like, we're raising the bar every single time here. And this is, oh man, I gotta read the card too. Should I read the card? People are saying, like, some people say don't read the card because it's intimate. I don't know. I think I'm gonna read it anyway. I think it's nice. UT, I got one of these bad boys. Smell good, baby. Smelling good with UT. And then also, what is this? A pin? Championship pin? US. These guys, the ball marker? It's a pin. This thing is awesome. Look at this bad boy. Oh, God, I love you guys. Coach Jay, enjoy some Tampa baseball swag for all you do for us and our community. Your dedication to our city is shown on a daily basis. No one better than you in covering every sport in Tampa. Champa Bay forever. Coach Urso. Oh, the Ursos and UT baseball. I love you guys. Thank you so freaking much. Let's go through it all again. I mean, my God, the pin. Okay, can't go wrong with the pin. Smelling good, baby, with the air freshener. Okay, we got the UT hoodie. I love this. Oh my gosh! Listen, when you get a hoodie, when you get a sweatshirt, the first thing, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how tough you are, you always put it up to your face like this. Incredible. Love it. Love. Can't love it enough. Put this box down. My God. You guys are the best. All right. The polo. Look at this thing. The polo. UT baseball. Jumpman. Can't beat that, buddy. The t-shirts. The dry fits. 9-time. How about 10? 10 is my favorite number. How about we'll do it again next year? Ring season. I mean, that's UT for you, buddy. They don't spare any expense. The golf towel. This thing's heavy, man. This is how we roll right here, baby. UT baseball all the way. The tees and the and the ball marker / poker chip. 2 of those. Thank you, guys. And then I'm again shocked. Not that I just didn't think they had them. Not that I didn't think they'd send it, but I didn't think they had them. These to me are, you want to talk about I think these are the nicest city connects in Tampa history. And it's not hyperbole because I have the Rays one, I have the Lightning one, but this one, I mean, this thing, bro, I mean, it says North Boulevard on it. My God, I didn't even notice that. Unity, Courage, 813, the Sunshine State, 401 West Kennedy, 9-time champs. Come on, bro. Skull and Crossbones. This is amazing. The ship, the big guava. Come on, man. It doesn't get better than this, man. Not surprised because of who is in charge and who are part of the leadership core over there. Oh yeah, let's not forget the cup right here. 9 times. When you look at the University of Tampa, there's no hidden reason. There's no surprise that they've been so successful with Joe Urso and Joe Urso, Julie Urso, and the entire Urso family at the helm. I get emotional just thinking about it. Like, it's tough. It's tough not being around my family because they live so far away. And when you meet people and they treat you so well, so early on. Like I coached their son, JD, many, many years ago, and even Preston when he was playing baseball. And I was young. This is before I was in radio. I was in my mid-20s, and I don't know what I did to deserve their trust and their love. But when you find people like that in your life, don't ever let them go. Go the extra mile. Like I drove 10 hours last year both ways to go watch UT play in the Division II National Championship. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to brag. I'm saying that because that's what you do for people that you care about. That's what you do for people that you love. That's what you do for people that are friends that become family. And the Ursos have always been there for me. Always. And they've been there for so many people. And when you're a great family, great things happen to you. And I honestly believe that that's the correlation. The correlation. Why are they so successful? Why are they 9-time champions? Salt of the earth. Those are some of the best people ever. Ever. And you just see, go to a UT game. Every time I go there, I feel like I'm home. Every time I go there, I feel like I'm part of the family. Like I played there. I didn't play there. But you go there and you see the Ursos and you see, even the families in the crowd, like people I've known forever, and see the Saladinos and the Russos and the Grouses and just all these different families. And even years back, seeing the Gutchers and the Lalas and seeing Jamarcus Lyons, who we saw the other day. Like it's Tampa's home. It's the hub of baseball right there. And you see so many dignitaries over the years and so many proud alumni. I can't say enough nice things about the Ursos. Thank you guys. And it's not just them, right? It's the people like Sammy Militello, right? Like Jose Jimenez, like all the other extended family members, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, cousins, kids. I mean, you want to be a part of that. You want to be a part of that culture and that just being around those. I mean, we went to lunch last, 6-7 months ago, me, Sammy, Joe, and Jose. That was the longest freaking lunch I think I ever went to, because we were just shooting the breeze for like hours. We could have stayed there all freaking day. Like, oh, we got to get back to our lives. Yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for sending the box and being a part of Recher Reveals. I didn't think I was going to get real emotional about discussing UT and the Urso family and everybody, but the older you get, I think the more jaded you get, and you start thinking like, I don't know if I could trust this person. I don't know, surround myself with certain people. But UT, every time I'm there, every time I'm around them, I'm grateful and thankful. And that's just a reminder, right? Like, if you have good people in your life, man, keep them. Keep them. Don't let minuscule BS, don't let minor arguments affect your day and cause a fracture that cannot be repaired. Go the extra mile. I'm so glad. Listen, I drove 10 hours both ways last year. And then
my knee got hurt so bad I couldn't throw out the first pitch, and then I went in the hospital for 3 days, and it was because I was sitting in a car for 10 hours. I probably needed to go get checked out anyway, but I would do it again. I would go through that pain. I would have to go in the hospital. Like, that's to watch them win the national championship, to see my guy Danny Gutcher and JP Gates, who I've known forever, to see, to be there in the hotel with, Sammy and Mel and Joe and Julie and Jose Witt, everybody. Like, everybody was there. Like, and to sit down with Tony Saladino, to chat with him for 20 minutes before I drove back. That's what it's all about, man. Life is all about the memories and the moments that you have with your loved ones and the people that are around you. And again, I can't say enough great things about UT. Notice I didn't really say much about the baseball team and the success, but it's about the people. It's not what you know, it's who you know in this world. And if you surround yourself with the Ursos and the Militellos and the Jimenez and UT families, chances are you're probably going to live a pretty awesome life. So thank you all. I love you all, and best of luck. This would be a great year to win a 10th national championship, wouldn't it? Yeah, and if you do, Cary, North Carolina, you bet your bottom dollar. I might fly this time, but I'll be there to support you guys and cheer you on. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. I forgot to send out the link to Forrest Lasso and Ed Encina, so give me a second. Follow me on all social media platforms at J Recher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can just scroll up and see I put the link in there in the chat if you want to join in. Just sending it over for everybody. Eddie Encina, link for today, my guy. Ed's done such a great job this year. Can't wait. And Forrest Lasso is going to join us in about 13 minutes or so. So yeah, good stuff right there. And if you want to be part of Recher Reveals, yeah, hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter, on Instagram, and we will get you in. And we love you, Joe. Love you, buddy. You're the best. All right. Go support UT. Go support our guys. All right, so let's talk some football now. Again, we will keep you guys abreast of the active shooter reported at Florida State University. Officials are advising people to seek shelter and await further instruction. Nothing else new right now. As soon as we get that information, we'll pass it on to you. All right. The NFL draft is coming up, and there's so many stories over the last couple of weeks about a guy like Travis Hunter. And I have to be honest. I know I'm in the minority when it comes to something like this, but I do have some apprehension when it comes to Travis Hunter. Was he a phenomenal college football player? No doubt about it. One of the greatest ever. I mean, your Heisman Trophy winner. Nobody's going to ever be able to take that away from you. But with that being said, is he going to be able to do that in the pros? And if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't play the amount of snaps, is he that, part of the reason why he was so amazing is because he was able to do it, not just a couple of plays here. Like, he played a ton on both sides of the ball, right? A ton. So if you just go and now you're a starting corner and then you're in for like 7 plays on offense, is that the same? I don't know if that really is the same. Is that is he going to be that guy? Is he going to be a starting wide receiver and then like a nickel corner? Like, you have to be. I think he can perform at a high level. Like, I think he could be a good player. But if he's just a corner, right? Is he better than Will Johnson? If you say yes, fine. If he's just a receiver, is he better than Golden or Chet McMillan or Abuka or any of these guys? If you think yes on both of those accounts, all right, fine.
But one thing I do know is that Will Johnson is going to be out there the whole time on defense. We know that Ted McMillan is going to be out there pretty much the whole time on offense, right? It's like the Ohtani thing. It's a little different, though, because he's a starting pitcher, so he's only going to pitch one every 5 days anyway, so you don't expect him. It's not like he has to pitch every single day. I think a closer comparison might be if like he was the closer, right? So it's a little bit different. But if Travis Hunter is going to play a full game on offense and a full game on defense, like I just don't see how that's going to happen. But it's intriguing because how much is he going to play, right? Let's see what Dave Velasquez. And if you want to chime in here, you can. Here's the link. If you guys want to hop on a video call, you can do that. Dolan says Hunter will be humbled by the league. This is the link if you want to put it in your phone or your laptop. Dave Velasquez, these guys are men in the NFL, bigger and stronger. Sometimes defenses are out there a long time. You're right. What if it is one of those drives where they're marching down? It's a 9, 10, 11, 12 play drive, and then you have to go be the number one wideout on the other side. Dave says he'd use him at wide receiver, then put him in that corner when I need to shut someone down. You could, but what if they just don't throw the ball? Then he's just kind of out there running around for no reason, right? I think it's actually the other way. I think you have him out there the whole time. I know what you meant, though, buddy. I know what you meant. I think it's the other way. I think you put him on defense the whole time. And then you put him out there maybe on third downs. You put him out there in the red zone, things like that. Because if you're going to have a guy out there playing as much as you are, and you're going to run the football a lot more for his NFL team than you probably were in college when Shedeur was dropping back and throwing a bunch of passes. Do you want Travis Hunter out there blocking? No, sir. No, sir. Get the ball in his hands or put him on defense. I think that's where it's at. But now you're seeing more and more of these, conversations, and we had this conversation on Beckles and Recher yesterday where he says, like, I'm not going to play. I'll quit football if I don't play both ways. Well, he's just a kid. He's going to say things like this. I don't look at it as, oh, he's a malcontent and he's just going to pout. Everything that we've heard from Travis Hunter, from Deion Sanders, was that he's kind of like a boring guy, into the fact that like he likes video games, he likes to fish, he spends time with his girl, and that's it. He doesn't go out. He loves football. That's just his thing. And we'll see. We'll see when you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, right, at the NFL level, because you think you have money in the college ranks. You're going to have FU money in the pros, especially getting drafted as high as he is going to get drafted. But I think it is a risk. It is a risk for a team out there, because at the end of the day, the good teams in football do what? They build from the inside out. This is not an inside guy. This is an outside guy. So are you going to draft him number 1 overall if you're 10? Like, all these teams have questions at the top of the draft. All of them. Because if you say I'm drafting a wide receiver in the top 3 picks, people are like, Keyshawn? If you draft a corner with a top 3 pick, right? It's like, all right, how high do you have to go? I mean, you think in the last 10 years or so, you remember guys like Denzel Ward was a corner that was drafted that high. Who was the kid out of I can't remember the kid out of Detroit. But you're drafting that high because he can do both, right? What if he doesn't do both, right? I just think there's so many question marks. And what if he gets hurt? He has been wildly healthy, which is great for him. But as a lot of you guys have articulated, like, these are grown-ass men. He's going to be going against 30-year-old guys with multiple children with gray in their beards, right? And they are not going to care. And they're going to look for him, and they're going to try to put him on his ass. It's just a fact. So as a luxury, yeah, you would love to have a guy like that. But if you have an opportunity to take a quarterback, if you have an opportunity to take a guy like Abdul Carter, if you have an opportunity to take I don't really know, Ashton Genty, I don't know if I would take him at all over a guy like Travis Hunter. But the fact that he's being mock drafted so high, I don't know. I don't know. Said team meeting. Oh man, that sucks. Sorry, Jay. Just out of the team meeting at 1 p.m. will be at least 20 minutes. Okay, man. To tomorrow. All right, so no Force Lasso, unfortunately. There you go. Unfortunately, that is no bueno. We'll see if we can get a active shooter. Still nothing new when it comes to the shelter in place ordered. Man, I just wish. Okay, so the Daily Mail has reported at least 4 people have been hospitalized after an active shooter opened fire at FSU. Chilling footage showed the suspected gunman being handcuffed on the ground by a police officer sometime after students were sent fleeing from a student union around midday local time Thursday. All right, so again, you got to be careful what you get in situations like that. Because it's just very scary. And again, we have so many friends and family members that, man, it just sucks, man. It just sucks. So again, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. But all right, yeah, and we just heard from the Rowdies. They have a meeting at 1:00. They just changed it. So dang it, coach, you're screwing me up here. So Forrest Lasso will be on the program tomorrow. So looking at the program tomorrow, we're going to have Forrest Lasso on. We'll also have a WrestleMania roundtable tomorrow as well at 1:00. Ed Encina is going to join us again. We'll have Corey Long and David Shealy, Matt Matera. We're going to have a whole crew of guys as WrestleMania 41 kicks off Saturday in Las Vegas. The main event of night 1 will be CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman in the corner of CM Punk. And then night 2, Cody Rhodes and John Cena for the WWE Universal Championship, whatever the hell they call it nowadays. So, yeah, there you go. All right, Paul Maurice just spoke there in South Florida, and he says that everyone is available for game 1, meaning that we could see Matthew Tkachuk and Brad Marchand on the ice together for the first time as teammates. We shall see if that is something that is going to come come to fruition or not. Still don't know 100%. Also, looking at this, Artemi Panarin just took home the annual Good Guy Award for his accountability and cooperation with the media with the New York Rangers. And Vince Mercogliano said he's often been a team spokesman during tough moments this season and always handles it with honesty and respect. He's been a pleasure to cover these past 6 seasons. Okay, that's fine. I get it. But there's also a big story out with Artemi Panarin where he and MSG has just reached settlements with a Rangers employee after a sexual assault allegation. So, and Katie Strang does incredible work. I remember Katie Strang back in, I'm talking over 20 years ago. Katie interviewed me for a story back with Newsday. Now she's working for The Athletic and the New York Times. And a woman left the Rangers organization in August of 2024 upon reaching the agreements, which included non-disclosure and no omission of wrongdoing clauses. One settlement was reached with Panarin and another with MSG Sports. So here is the alleged assault, okay? And I want you guys to listen to what this story is, and I want you guys to tell me what you think about this whole thing. The alleged assault occurred in December 2023 during a Rangers road trip, according to 2 Rangers sources briefed about the allegation. Panarin and the woman in question, who was a regular part of the team's traveling party. So regular part of the team's traveling party, is that a PR person? Is that it has to be PR or a social media person. That's like trying to think of the people who would travel with the team like that. So Panarin and the woman who was a regular part of the team's traveling party were at a post-game gathering at a hotel with about a dozen other players and staff members. Panarin allegedly took her phone and said he would only give it back if she retrieved it from his hotel room, the sources said. When she went to his hotel room to retrieve her device, Panarin pinned her down on the bed. She pushed him off, retrieved her phone, and left the room. Neither Panarin nor his agent responded to a request seeking comment. An MSG Sports spokesperson said in an email statement, the matter has been resolved. The woman, The Athletic does not typically identify alleged victims of sexual misconduct without their consent, said only the matter has been resolved. There is no record of and the NHL wrote in an email, the club retained an outside law firm to conduct an independent investigation, which the league was fully apprised of. We consider the matter closed. There is no record of the woman reporting the incident to law enforcement. She also did not immediately alert the team. But about 3 months after the alleged sexual assault, she informed the team as part of an investigation into a separate incident. The team learned that the woman, whose anxiety around airplane travel was well known among team members, had shared her anti-anxiety medicine with a player who had the same issue. She was placed on paid leave pending the outcome of that investigation. The female employee felt she was treated unfairly, according to team sources, and she then informed the team about the alleged assault. While the woman was still on leave, an executive in August, MSG and Panarin reached settlement agreements with the woman, and her employment with the team ended. The league and Rangers declined to say whether Panarin was subject to any discipline. And let's not forget, in February of 2021, Panarin took a leave of absence from the team for personal reasons following claims printed in a Russian newspaper that he was involved in a physical altercation with a woman in Latvia in 2021. The Rangers denied the allegation, calling them an intimidation tactic used against him in response to his comments on Russian politics. So there's the story about Artemi Panarin. And whether you guys think it's related or not, like there's when you're mixing men and women and covering sports. And again, if she's part of the traveling party, and this is just knowing what I know about traveling parties, right? This woman was either a coach or a trainer, a social media person, member of the PR staff. That's pretty much it. That's all I can think of, right? But she didn't come out and say anything until after she was punished for giving somebody anti-anxiety medication because of their inability to travel, right? And listen, you can speculate on what it is. You know, I know people that they have trouble on planes, so they'll take Xanax or some kind of pill like that. And of course, things like that can be a slippery slope. And the last thing you want is, if you're going to give somebody like that, them to start abusing those type of things. We understand that. And you kind of understand why the team would come down so harshly on her. But then when she now says something like this, it puts into question, like, why didn't you say it right away? Why are only now you bring that up after what happens? And I'm not saying that she's wrong, or I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm just saying that does not bode well. Like, that goes kind of for those that believe that she's doing this just to get money. That kind of thing doesn't help your case. Why settle if you didn't do anything wrong? I'm always a big believer with that. Something was wrong. Whether that was the exact account of what happened, or whether Artemi Panarin, who's married, was having a intimate relationship with this woman. Again, you don't pay, and MSG doesn't pay if you didn't do anything wrong. And the fact that he's a good guy to the media, and the fact that everybody loves the guy, he's always got a smile on his face. And listen, I'm an admitted Artemi Panarin fan. I have a shirt that says Panarin on the back. The bread man. I love the way he plays. He, team that I grew up rooting for, my favorite number. But I don't know, like, if I can ever look at him the same. Is that wrong? I don't know. All right, breaking news. We got it right here. Breaking news for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The schedule is out. Game 1 between the Panthers and the Lightning is Tuesday, April 22nd at Amalie Arena at 8:30. So no game Sunday, no game Monday. It's Tuesday. Game 2 against the Panthers Thursday night at Amalie Arena at 6:30. So game 1, Tuesday night at 8:30. Game 2, Thursday night at 6:30. Game 3, Lightning at Panthers Saturday, April 26th at 1 p.m. Oof, man. And then game 4, Lightning at Panthers on Monday, April 28th. Time to be determined. And then game 5 is going to be Wednesday, if necessary, at Amalie Arena. Game 6, if necessary, Friday down there in Sunrise. And then game 7, Panthers at Lightning, Sunday, May 4th at Amalie Arena. Your boy turns 40 years old that day. Can you imagine if the Lightning and the Panthers, Lightning and Panthers game 7th on my 40th birthday? Bro, that is insane. So there you have it. The Lightning will open the postseason on home ice at Amalie Arena with game 1 beginning at 8:30 on Tuesday. Game 2 taking place at 6:30 on Thursday, April 24th. And late game there. And we will put this out there. Hold on. Did the Lightning announce it? There we go. The Battle of Florida continues. Everybody's been waiting. Game 1, Tuesday night at 8:30. Game 2, Thursday night at 6:30. Here we go. Talking about this now on podcast. Get here. All right, sorry guys. I want to make sure that everything is out. Everybody knows where we're at. Boom. There we go. There we go. This is why you want to be live and local at this time of day. All right. This is the time. Waiting until Tuesday. I am so jacked up, so excited about this. How do we feel? How do we feel, Lightning fans out there, Bolts Nation? Listen, this is going to bode well for all of the guys that are banged up. This is going to bode well for both teams when you think about it. Woo! Excuse me. All right, awesome. So, you see the announcement. And again, for those of you just joining us, thank you. Benny, we know that it is set. The stage is set for round 1. For those of you just joining us, we'll read it off again. What do you think? I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the schedule? Game 1, not until Tuesday. We thought it was going to be Sunday, maybe Monday. But listen, no games, or I guess no game on Sunday, no game on Easter Sunday. Game 1, Tuesday night, April 22nd, 8:30 p.m. at Amalie Arena. It's a late one. Game 2, Thursday, April 24th, a little bit earlier, 6:30. Puck drop there. Game 3 and Game 4 down there at Amarant Bank in Sunrise in South Florida. Game 3 Saturday, April 26th at 1 p.m. It's an afternoon affair. Game 4 Monday night, April 28th. Time to be determined. Game 5, if necessary, back at Amalie Arena Wednesday night. That time also to be determined there on April 30th. Game 6, if necessary, back down in South Florida in Sunrise Friday, May 2nd. Time to be determined. Game 7, Sunday, May 4th, if necessary. Jay Recher, 40th birthday. That is where I'll be. That is where I will be at Amalie Arena on Sunday. My family's coming down from New York. I'm sorry. I love you all. But I will be at Amalie Arena for my 40th birthday if there is a Game 7 between the Lightning and the Florida Panthers. There you go. So, what does this mean, right? This means that, first off, I look at Andrei Vasilevsky. He played Tuesday. He's not going to play until the following Tuesday. So that's a full week off for Andrei Vasilevsky. It's also time for guys like Mitchell Chaffee It's time for guys like Oliver Bjorkstrand, and it's time for guys like Luke Glendening to be able to get healthy enough to be able to be back in the lineup. You look at the other side. You're looking at Matthew Tkachuk. He is the big piece. He may be the most pivotal guy in this entire series. What can he do? What percentage of Matthew Tkachuk are the Florida Panthers going to have for round one against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Because you get a schedule like this, if you're the Cats, you are jumping for joy. The playoffs are starting on Saturday. There's 2 Western Conference matchups on Saturday. You're not starting until Tuesday. We know it has a lot to do with TV. We know it has a lot to do with Canada. We got to make sure that the Leafs get as many Saturday games and the Montreal. The only 2 teams. This is the first time in history that Toronto and Montreal are the only 2 of the original 6 teams that are in the postseason. I think that's pretty cool. For as long as hockey has been around, for as long as the original 6, and we're talking about the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs, but the Bruins, the Blackhawks, the Rangers, and the Red Wings not being there. It is kind of funky, isn't it? Kind of weird how that happened. Hockey's better when all the big names are in there, when the original 6 franchises are in there, no doubt. More eyeballs on the product. Makes it that much better when you beat them. There is going to be a lot of crazy first-round action. The Battle of Ontario between Ottawa and Toronto. You see the Lightning and the Panthers. It's crazy, crazy stuff. Dave Terry says this is not good for the working folk who only has weekends to go to the games. Yep. Michael LeDuc, I'm calling shenanigans. That is ridiculous. What do you guys think of the Lightning's chances? What do you think of the schedule that just came out? Again, we invite you to join us via the video call. There is the link right there on the chat. StreamYard.com/HSix-EPPSMI39. Join in on the program. You have thoughts on the Lightning, the Rays, but we're talking a lot of Lightning right now because of the big time announcement with Game 1 Tuesday at 8:30, Game 2 Thursday night at 6:30. We're also looking at some breaking news in college basketball where 6'2" guard Xavier Brown from James Madison is committed to USF. The USF is getting some commitments now. Brian Hodgson doing his thing. All right, so Vegas and Minnesota is going to be amazing too. All right, let's see if we can. I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you guys, and we'll go through. All right, first round schedule is out. This is why I love you guys, okay? This is what I'm going to do for you. You're not going to get this anywhere else, all right? So I'm going to share my screen, okay? This is the NHL media site, okay? And there we go. All right, so as you can see there, the Battle of Ontario starts Sunday night, April 20th, right? Damn, 2 days before the Lightning series starts. That's nuts, huh? So Sunday, April 20th at 7, Ottawa at Toronto, and then they play Tuesday, and then again on Thursday and Saturday. Yeah, they're going to want that Saturday night because you knew that series wasn't going to start Saturday. So they wanted, at the very least, to have games 4 and 7 there. So you see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so I knew there was going to be 2 games between. So if you see here, can you guys see my cursor? Game 4, Toronto and Ottawa, Saturday, April 26th. Then 2 days between 4 and 5. So they can get back on that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule so that they can have 2 Saturday night games with Ottawa and Toronto. That makes perfect sense. That is exactly what they do. Tampa Bay and Florida, we just went over that. Washington and Montreal, the number 1 overall seed in the East against Washington, against the number 2 wild card, the Montreal Canadiens. Marty, let's see if they can upset the apple cart and beat Ovi and the Caps. That series starts on Monday, April 21st. Then they go Wednesday, April 23rd, Friday and Sunday. And then they have 2 days off between. That's a little bit of a surprise there. 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday, and they're back on it Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Those will probably be the late games as well, primetime as well. See who wins that series. And then Carolina and New Jersey, they start Sunday night as well. Sunday, Tuesday, then they have 2 days off after game 2, Wednesday and Thursday, and then they'll start game 3 back in Jersey Friday, Sunday, and then back on it Tuesday. And then they have a 2. If they go to a game 6, they have Wednesday and Thursday off, and then they'll finish this. Look at how many games that we could have on May 4th. We could have 4 game 7s on game 4th, on May 4th, on my birthday. Tampa Bay and Florida, Washington, Montreal, Carolina, and Jersey, and then Winnipeg and St. Louis. And St. Louis finds a way. That was a team that I think a lot of people looked out and said, I don't know if this is going to happen. But man, Jordan Binnington and the crew, JB did a great job for Team Canada. And Winnipeg, this is your chance. This is your chance. Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuck, prove everybody this isn't a fluke. St. Louis is a live dog in this one. They certainly are. They start Saturday night. The first 2 series on Saturday night will be Winnipeg at St. Louis. St. Louis at Winnipeg, and then Colorado at Dallas. Wow, the Mikko Rantanen Cup. Wow, what a matchup there. We knew that was going to come, though, the 2 teams in the center with how good Winnipeg was this year. And then Vegas and Minnesota start Sunday night, and then Los Angeles and Edmonton on Monday nights. And we know LA and Edmonton don't like each other. Philip Deneau said last week that they were playing their B team and they were trying to hurt us. And then Vegas and Minnesota, Marc-Andre Fleury, right? His current team and one of his former teams. This is just, I think we're in line for just an incredible postseason. All right, let's make the call right here. Let's make the call. Who's going to win? Toronto and Ottawa. It's still going to be Toronto for me. I think they're going to win this series. Ottawa's tough. That would be great, though. How great would it be if Brady could chuckle at Ottawa to a win over Toronto? That would be so awesome. I'll go with Toronto in that one. I go with the Lightning over the Panthers. Washington and Montreal. I'm not buying Montreal. I'll give Washington the nod there. And then Carolina over New Jersey. And then look at that second round matchup. If that happens, Lightning and Toronto, and then Washington and Carolina, 2 teams that absolutely hate each other. I spoke about the Rays earlier in the show today about having a little more grit, having a little more fire, a little more nastiness. That series right there is going to be filled with nastiness and vitriol. That will be fun. I hope that's the one second round matchup I really want to see. Washington and Carolina. I will go to the West for the next round. Winnipeg and St. Louis. I'm going to go with St. Louis. I'm going to go with St. Louis in this one. As much as Connor Hellebuck is the man, Jordan Binnington is a big, big game goaltender. And he won the gold at the 4 Nations. He's a Stanley Cup champion. As much as I want Winnipeg to do well, but I feel like St. Louis is going to find a way. Dallas and Colorado. Oh, boy. Wow. Heavy hitters. I think the 2 best series to me in round 1 are the Lightning and the Panthers and Dallas and Colorado. And how ironic is that? Those are the two teams that are second and third in their respective divisions. But yes, Lightning and Panthers, Dallas and Colorado. Mikko Rantanen traded from Colorado to Carolina, now to Dallas, signs the extension. There's just star power all over the place. And it's going to come down to who's in goal. Who is going to win that battle? You got to lean Dallas when it comes to that, because we know Jake Ottinger, if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck, he'd be the best goalie in the United States. Wow. Who do you go with that one? I think you have to go Colorado here. McKinnon, McCarr. I love what they did at the trade deadline. Getting Charlie Coyle, getting Brock Nelson. Dallas got Miko, but I don't know if Miko's ever going to be the Miko that we saw in Colorado with Dallas. I'm going to go with Colorado in that one. So I have St. Louis and Colorado, and then Vegas and Minnesota, or LA and Edmonton. I'm going to go with Vegas and Edmonton. Edmonton just dealing with injuries. Those guys will be healthy. They'll be ready to go Monday night, April 21st in game 1 of that series. I go Vegas. Vegas is a wagon. They are, man. Just the way that they play, their defensive structure. I think that their game can really travel, whether they're at home or they're on the road. I got a lot of faith in Vegas. They may be my team that comes out of the West, no doubt. All right, let's go to my Eastern Conference Finals matchup, and that would be the Tampa Bay Lightning against the winner of Washington and Carolina. I'm going to go Carolina in this one. I just think they're deeper. I think they're deeper. Now, could Ovi lead them to a victory? Yes. Could Ryan Leonard step up? Without a doubt. But I like the experience of Rob Brandamore's crew. I like that they're just a deep team, and they're gonna bait you, and they're gonna play defense, and they'll play a knockdown, drag out type of game. I'm gonna go Carolina over Washington, an incredibly physical series. I hope that game goes to 7. And I think the Lightning beat whoever comes out of there, because I think it's going to be a war of attrition. As much as it'll be a tough battle against Florida, and it will be a tough battle against Toronto, having that second round matchup between the Caps and the Hurricanes, I think that they're going to do so much damage to each other that neither one of them we're going to have enough to beat whoever comes out. Like, think about it like this. It's probably going to be Washington, Carolina, right? No matter what, you would think. And then when they square off, the deeper that series goes, the worse it is for either team. Because whether it's Toronto, Ottawa, Tampa Bay, or Florida, whoever's going to be waiting for them on the other side of the bracket in the Eastern Conference, I doubt that they're going to play the same type of physical series that Carolina and Washington are going to play on that other side. St. Louis and Colorado, I have to go with Colorado on that one, and then Vegas over Edmonton. Yeah, I think Vegas is too much for Edmonton to handle. They're just too deep. So Vegas and Colorado. Oh, God. I think I'm going to go Vegas. Vegas has been one of the most impressive teams that I've seen all year long. They could just beat you in some. They're just so heavy, and they beat you in so many different ways. They don't have to cheat to score goals. They're fine playing 1-0 and 2-1 games. That's just them. So are we staring at a Tampa Bay Lightning Vegas Golden Knights final? The two best like shows. It's crazy. Oh, Dave Terry's here. Let's bring him in. What's up, pal? How are you?
What are you doing, buddy?
Nothing much, man. What do you got for me?
Hey, real quick, I know Double E's coming on real quick here.
Yep.
All I want to see tonight is Disney on Ice, the Zambino driver in the goal. we cannot have any injuries, my man.
I'm so glad you said that, because the other day we were talking to John Cooper after morning skate, and Eric Erlinson's asking him a question. He's kind of looking at us like, guys, if I had the chance, I would forfeit these two last two games, because that's the only thing. Like, you're watching this game with bated breath, right, Dave? You're looking at it. You're like,
oh my God, I'll come unglued if somebody gets hurt.
I'm with you, buddy. Thanks, pal. I appreciate you.
Okay, bud. See ya.
See ya, man. The one and only Dave Terry. You want to get in on the conversation like Dave? Feel free to give us a call. As always, there's the StreamYard link, StreamYard.com/H6EPPSMI39. Take that, copy it, put it on your phone, put it on your laptop, whatever. We can get you in here before Ed Encina joins us in about 5 minutes. I'm with you, Dave Velasquez. Time to whip some Panther candy asses. Is it possible, Dolan wants to know, that the league did us in Florida solid and let us get healthy and rested? No. Did they mean to do that? No. Did they end up doing it? It seems like yes, that is the answer. It does help, right? It's all about the TV deals. That's all it is about. That's the number one. That's paramount. That's what it is. And the fact that we're that late on a Tuesday night, like that's the last series getting started, that tells you all you need to know. Let's see. Dolan, there's not a team I despise more than Toronto. They're up there, aren't they? It's pretty wild how Toronto has gotten. Are they the Lightning's biggest? No, the Panthers are the biggest rival. Do you hate the Lightning? Or I'm going to ask you guys this. Do you despise the Panthers more or the Maple Leafs more? I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I don't think there's anybody else right now. Like, you can look back in the years in Philadelphia or I don't know. I think that's probably the two biggest. Boston Bruins in there. Shout out to Dave. Yeah, your brother Joshua's birthday. Awesome, man. May 4th. That's great. Benny says, I miss when the Bolts rivals the Red Wings. Yeah, that's a point. That's a good point, too. Who is the biggest rival? I don't want to say biggest rival because I want to ask you, Bolts Nation, who? As a Lightning fan, who do you hate the most? Which team do you hate the most as a Tampa Bay Lightning fan? Is it the Boston Bruins? Is it the Toronto Maple Leafs? Is it the Florida Panthers? Feel free to text your response there or, once again, StreamYard.com/H6EPPSMI39. Put that on your phone. Put that on your laptop. And Lady Evil, she's always here with us. Panthers. Lady Evil, you got to call up on the show one time, too. We want to hear from you. Lady Evil says the Panthers. I think it is growing, and it doesn't hurt that a guy like Brad Marchand's there either. we certainly don't like him. So yeah, if you missed it, that was there's the schedule. Lightning and Panthers Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So no days off. Everything is a day in between. No 2 days between these guys. They want them ready to go. Dolan says, I despise the Kitties a little less than the Leafs, the Bruins, the Islanders, and Flyers used to be on the hate list. Really? Huh. Trying to get this out of here. Benny says, it's got to be the Panthers right now. Yeah, it's hard. I think it's the Maple Leafs for me. I really do. As much as I want to say it's the Panthers, they built their team the right way. They kind of took the blueprint of the Lightning, and they play well. I think you may hate them, but you respect them. I still think when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, the way that they go about their business and they just try to outscore everybody and like, oh, look, we play defense every once in a while. Okay, great. But as we know, these things change. Over time, there could be other teams that step up, right? Carolina, could they be a team? What if they ever change like how the divisions are? I wonder, like you play Nashville so much in the preseason, and then all of a sudden it's like, you don't really play them as much anymore. What the hell's going on? It's like they're on the Western Conference. Detroit used to be in the West. I miss those Detroit-Colorado battles of the late 90s. God, those are insane. Those are insane. If you've never seen the documentary, the 30 for 30 on the Detroit Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche, I tell you, my friends, go check it out. All right, Encina is going to join us here in a bit. I guarantee you right now he's writing a story. Or maybe he's not. We'll get him in, and we will talk some Tampa Bay Lightning hockey again. We just found out that the Bolts will start their series Tuesday night against the Florida Panthers, Game 2. Thursday night, no double days in between. Every other series, I think, got it, except the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is just the way it is. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. we will be heading down to South Florida for games 3, 4, possibly game 6 as well. So, yeah, should be a fun one. All right, let's bring him in for his weekly visit. It's the man in green, Eduardo Encina. Ed and Encina. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hey, they dropped this stuff right at the last minute, dude. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Great timing.
Did you have a story? Do you have to write a story right now or what?
Yeah, I just pumped out something like
you did.
quickly. And
did you have?
I was hearing Tuesday, which is kind of weird. You know, it's kind of a weird thing to have it that late, but 8:30 start. But yeah, I kind of known a little bit of it, but still had to pump it out. So
look at this one. Sean Liston, acknowledged. Acknowledged, Ed. Acknowledged. Yeah, I like it. Acknowledged. Yeah, there we go.
I kind of like
that. Acknowledged. You should just get this is your own clothing company. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yeah, but you got to say Ed. Acknowledge Ed. Acknowledge.
No, acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yeah, so the ED just needs to be capitalized. I think it's good.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to capitalize ED nowadays, buddy. That's not really a great thing. All right. So what are your initial thoughts then, man, when you hear this? I mean, obviously you said you had a little bit of an inkling, but what are the first things that come to mind when you know that, all right, hey, it's locked in. They're playing Tuesday night.
Right. Well, I think, the first thing that stands out is obviously the Lightning are a little banged up, right? So this helps them get some of those guys, the guys who aren't playing right now, some extra rest. It also gives some of the guys, this is obviously a long, grueling season. And if they're, looking forward to, a deep run, this is valuable, valuable off time. So I think that's the good part of it. The bad part of it is that, the last game of the season's tonight. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days off, right? Which is pretty rare during at any point outside of, outside of like a Four Nations break or an All-Star game break or anything like that. Even when they have like a few days off for Christmas or for Thanksgiving, you have a couple practice days mixed in. Obviously, they will have some practice days there, but I think the biggest part is we're the Lightning are a team right now that has 11 healthy forwards and 7 healthy defensemen. So, to get some of those guys back, get Luke Glendening some extra time. It doesn't look like Oliver Bjorkstrand's going to be around for at least the beginning of the playoffs. He's slated as week to week. But, it just, again, like a lot of these guys are banged up already. So, we've seen it, like whether it's, getting Andrei Vasilevsky some extra, days off or skates off and practice days off. I think this year more than others, they've been really cognizant of giving some guys some time. I think there was one day, I think we talked about it probably like 2 weeks after the return of the Four Nations, where all the Four Nations guys had a practice day off. We've seen Nikita Kucherov have a day off every now and again. So I think that's where the value of maybe starting a little bit later lies. But obviously, in some of these cases, the team that's, we saw with the Panthers a couple of years ago, the team that has to fight to get in, and already has that playoff mentality that, the switch has already started. Those teams sometimes have an advantage because they're already in that kind of playoff mode. So, we'll see. I mean, the Panthers on the other side, while they're going to get guys back, they're going to get, Ekblad, I think game 2 back. They're going to, I saw somewhere that, that Kachuk is going to be a game time decision before game 1. So, they're going to get guys back. But again, they've been resting a lot of their guys. So they're going a totally different way. Like I think Reinhardt's taken a couple of days off. Barkov, we obviously saw, the lineup that we saw, the other night, which basically had, I think 4 or 5 starters outside of the, the guys who weren't available missing. So, they're taking an entirely different, approach to this to get rested. Where if the Lightning are kind of limping into this, they need everyone to play and already have guys banged up. So, we'll see. I think that Tuesday, that's the biggest thing that sticks out to me about Tuesday.
Is that good? You think it's good?
I did for the Lightning. I think it's good. I think that, it's weird because I feel that this team has really kind of avoided injuries for most of the season. Right. I mean, like JJ Mosier got hurt for, he was out for, I think 8 weeks or something like that. But I think outside of that, they really haven't been, too banged up, all year long. And then all of a sudden, last 3-4 games, Darren Radish got banged up, too. He played the other night, but still, I mean, and again, it goes back to the thing that we always talk about is like, we never know until the end, basically, how
Right.
how much guys are really banged up. So, but there's no doubt. I do think that the Four Nations took a big toll on a lot of those guys, and it affected the Lightning line, and probably more than maybe a few others, because there were so many guys who were involved. But yeah, I think it helps. And you know what? I mean, as sometimes it gets to a certain point where like you do need a practice day, and giving Coop and his staff a practice day, I think helps too. Practice day or two, to really kind of. There's not going to be a super amount of game planning. These teams know what each other do. Right. They know each other like the back of their hand. They know, they know how Paul Maurice coaches. The Panthers know how Cooper and his staff do things and how they play. So I think it's there's not really a super amount of game planning going on. I think more the rest than anything helps out.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too, like as far as the scheduling goes, Beverly says league giving Sunday off for players to spend Easter with family. I don't know so much about that, but I am concerned about Tuesday because Earth Day. Tuesday is game one. Trying to take Earth Day shine. Our number one viewer when you're on. Shannon wants to know Earth Day. I mean,
Earth Day is also that special viewer's birthday as well. So
is it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, what's funny too is that if this series goes to 7 games, Game 7 is on my 40th birthday. Sunday, May 4th. So everybody's like, "You're not going to the game." I go, "You bet your sweet ass I'm going to the game." Bro,
take Game 7 off. Just.
Can you imagine that? Ed, no, I'm not even putting it out there. I'm not even putting that negative out there. No. I'll walk out. I will walk onto the ice. I don't. What kind of shoes do I wear for game 1, Ed?
Well, Jay, has anyone asked you about what you're wearing the other day? I mean,
everybody. You were the first person saying, "Are you okay? You wearing brown shoes?"
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I actually had to pull you aside, like ask you if you're okay, because you had brown shoes on, and then you had like this. I liked it. I liked the look. It was more of like a, what would you call it? It was like a blue and brown kind of, design.
Mixing it up.
Yeah, the plaid jacket that you had your turtle frame glasses on. You look like you were teaching. You look like one of those analytics guys up in the second row of the.
You're right. Brian Breesman kept saying, "Oh, Professor Recher is here." Shannon brings up the best point. They wanted to make sure you guys could properly watch WrestleMania weekend. So we'll tell everybody now, because I told somebody this story today. So a lot of people have been talking about, oh yeah, the game on Sunday. Easter. Oh, this and Easter. And all of a sudden we're in the press box, and I look down to Ed and I go, I don't give 2 craps. That game's at 12:30 on Sunday. And then Ed kind of looks, and then it kind of registered like 5 seconds in, like, oh yeah, we can watch WrestleMania. And listen, now it's starting on Tuesday, Ed, the viewing is open, buddy.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. It opens up big doors, So, yeah, I mean, even like if that's a practice day, in and out and write your story. I don't know. I mean, like with the pre-show is what at like 4:00, but I don't know how much. But,
yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know if you need 3 hours of freaking previews. That's freaking nuts. Let's see. Before we get back to everything that's going on, let's get to this real quick. Mm-hmm. Where did everything go wrong with Isaac Howard? I mean, we were talking about this for so long, and we were hoping that this is going to happen. And Ed, with the injuries now that they're dealing with, if this kid was just a little freaking more patient, like I think he would have had a really good chance to play tonight and play in game 1 of the playoffs, man. I just, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, so I still believe that the Lightning had a way of, having Isaac potentially play at the NHL level. I think, maybe later on, the last 2 games. I think that was actually one of their ideas. But and the way Isaac made it sound is like he wasn't asking for, immediate path. But I do think that he probably saw that he wasn't getting there. I do think that one thing that just, and this is more trying to read between the lines than necessarily anything that's anyone said to me, is that, there is a hierarchy when it comes to, and there is a merit-based system when it comes to the Lightning and how they promote people, right? And so, having been in Syracuse and watching them and talking to the coaches there and the development people and everything like that, like, if there was only going to be one person that was going to get called up, it was probably going to be Connor Geeky at that point, right? And so I don't know if that was a factor in it, but I mean, everyone, whether it's Nikita Kucherov, even Braden Point, Andre Vasilevsky, all these guys at least played a few games. Some of it wasn't long. I think Braden played like 9 games at the end of his last junior season in Red Deer. But each of them they play games in the AHL, and I think it's a part of, we always talk about the whole mantra of the process over outcome thing, and I really think that that's a part of it. That there are there's a process, and there's certain steps that guys have to take, and I don't know what was discussed per se of like when he would be up, if he would be up. Obviously, the notion of burning a full year of his entry level deal, I think was maybe a part of it too. But at the end of the day, I guess the one thing that was, I wrote about this on Sunday, is like, I guess it's kind of frustrating from both aspects, is that like, this is a guy who, this was the one guy you weren't going to trade at the trade deadline the past couple of years. This was the one guy that you kind of had a clear vision for, and that wasn't clear on both sides is kind of, what that path was.
Let me ask you this, Ed, because I brought this up to Double E yesterday. Do you think that this is of the same type of, maybe mismanagement is too strong of a word, but are we going down the same path with the whole Steven Stamkos thing? Not that they didn't bring him back,
right,
but the fact that there was no communication with Steven Stamkos' representatives, which, and remember, Stammer was pissed. He did not appreciate that there was a lack of dialogue between his team and Julien Brisebois. And I wonder, right, we give Julien the benefit of the doubt of the moves that he makes, which is, pretty spot on outside of the Tanner Jeannot deal. But for something like this, where it may have needed a little bit more of a careful bedside manner, a little bit more of an open and articulate and concise way of, this is the plan for you. Do you think it could be another case of Julien and company not really doing a great job of communicating where they stood with Isaac Howard and his team?
I think that's possible. I think that's a very real possibility. I mean, I know that, let's go back to, the discussion that we had with Julien back in, what was it, late January, early February, where, when Isaac Howard's name was mentioned, the initial, his initial reaction was like, hey, like, pump the brakes, let's let him play his season out, right, before we even think about that. And, I can see that being the same way. I mean, like, remember, Julien was on the tarmac with Steven after game 6 and said, we'll talk to you, right? Like, you're a priority. Now, saying that and actually, like, the process of how that negotiation goes are two different things. And obviously, I do think that with a kid like Howard, who has maybe some options, has some leverage at that point, you probably do want to be a little bit more, forthcoming with really what your plan is. But I don't necessarily think that, like, from Isaac's perspective, how could he have, he's been to the development camps, he's done this and stuff like that. And, like, yes, like, he saw a bunch of his dudes from that national development team, make jumps right away, whether it was Logan Cooley, whether it was Frank Nazar, Ryan Leonard was on that team. He went right away to the Caps, after this season. So he's seen a lot of it, but, I guess the recognition on both sides too, that, like, he didn't recognize, like, hey, they do it a little bit differently here,
and knowing what their cap situation was, right?
Yeah, right. But I do think too that, we do know that Julien is very deliberate with his procedure, right? And whether that's with Steven Stamkos or Isaac Howard, I don't think he necessarily, veers away from it. With Steven, it was always we'll talk at the end of the season, right? When Steven wanted to talk, well ahead of the season, the summer before that. So like that part of it necessarily shouldn't be a surprise. Now, whether you should have handled, Isaac Howard a little bit differently, because, if the whole goal of all of this is to keep this team competitive year after year after year, and you see that Isaac Howard is a big part of that. I mean, not to like so much say this, but I think the Lightning saw that Steven Stamkos maybe wasn't a part of being competitive year after year after year. But if Isaac Howard that's the guy you didn't want to trade. That was a guy who was a deal breaker when you were talking, when everyone wanted him, and at the trade deadline, that you would think. And he's one of the guys that is going to be with the Geekies and all those other guys that are going to, those 20 under those lower 20-year-old guys who are going to carry you into the next decade. You would think that you'd have a little bit more I don't want to say openness, but like make sure that he knows what's up.
Yeah, the worst thing in life is not knowing where you stand, whether it's a job or relationship or friendship. But now what, Ed? Like, I don't know if there's any way back.
I mean, like, I think when some of these injuries hit, some people were thinking like, hey, here's an opening. I mean, there really wasn't necessarily, because especially at least not till like the end of here, because of the cap stuff. So I mean, I guess the next question is whether he shows up to development camp back in July, and I think that's probably the next, if he holds out from that or isn't there, then, I think, we kind of sit here and wonder what's up. But I mean, actually before then, I mean, I think, you've really got to wonder whether they're going to trade or consider at least trading his draft rights at the draft, which is, late June. Right. So, you've got to consider that if you think he's unsignable, but also, you want to, if you're going to trade him, maybe you want to trade him then, because maybe you can get more for him, because the longer you wait, the longer it gets to a point where he can become a free agent, right, at the end of next season. So it's a weird situation, and I don't know exactly where it goes next. And I'm definitely not sure if we ever see Isaac Howard in a Lightning jersey. And I think the situation is not going away per se. I think it's something we're going to be writing on for quite a while here until it all kind of finds a resolution. But I guess the one thing for me is like, I don't understand how it got this ugly so fast.
Yeah.
Sad. Especially since, I was talking to Stacey Roos the other, like a couple of weeks ago in Syracuse, and he was just saying like, yeah, Isaac's done everything. He's a great season. It all turned together. Everything that we've seen in his development's great. So even as recent as a few weeks ago, this guy was a part of the plan. And now I think it's pretty clear that the plan moving forward might be without him.
What's the one thing that you're optimistic about when it comes to the Lightning going into the playoffs? One thing you're pessimistic about?
Ooh, I am a little concerned about the injuries. You know what I mean? Like, to be this banged up, this early on, you only know it's going to get worse. But I think, this team and the culture in this room, over the years, they're a team that battles. We know that from seeing it over the years. Mm-hmm. But I do. The thing that sticks out to me the most is that, more than the past few years, maybe past 2 years or so, is that this team, especially amongst the defensive core, they've really kind of settled in terms of being a good group that protects the middle of the ice. And they have their bad nights. There's no doubt about it. And there's times when they turn the puck over in their own end. They look a little panicked. But again, I think I've told you this is like, I don't know if anyone could have predicted the impact of Ryan McDonough being back there, and just the calm that he brings, and also what him being there allows you to do. Victor's not playing as many minutes. He's not playing as many top line matchups. Because I think for the most part, those top line matchups, if you can control them, have been Chernak for the most part. So, and it lets you kind of move down guys like Purvix and Radish, who were maybe playing a little bit higher up versus maybe where you want them to play, and they're kind of a little bit more settled in those roles. So I think obviously in the playoffs, the power plays kind of dwindle away, mm-hmm. and sometimes the offense dwindles away. But I do think that this team has showed they can score. I think of late we've seen some really good depth scoring contributions, whether it's from guys like Gage, Geeky, some of those other guys. And I think if you thought that those guys were going to contribute at the beginning of the year, and now you see what they've done and kind of the roles they're playing, the confidence they're playing with, I think that's something that's very, very promising to see. I think they'll score, and having said it always comes, having said all that, it always comes down to, sometimes it comes down to a goaltender just having a series, right?
Mhm.
And I still say that last year Bobrovsky won that series for them, right? And I do think that, if Matt Dumba's backhand goes in, it's an entirely different series for him, So, but I do know that, I do know this, I think the Andre Vasilevsky that you're going to see this year is different than the one you saw the past couple years. I think that he's in a much better mindset. He's healthy. Like, this is something I've got coming up in a couple of days, but, he talked about how a couple of years ago in the playoffs, he was playing on one leg, basically,
Mhm.
and how much that hurt him, both not just physically, but mentally in the postseason. Like, imagine being Andre Vasilevsky and having the skill and the ability to do what you can do in the postseason and physically not being able to do it.
Oh
Right.
God.
And so, I think he's in a much better place. Again, I think they've handled him with a lot of care in terms of giving him rest. And I think that you're in for seeing some special moments from him, whether they go one series or, or four series deep. I think that he's going to be one of those. I think we've seen, we're going to see the same guy control that kind of postseason atmosphere that we saw back in 2021 and 22. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, to be honest, is I think we're going to see the Andre Vasilevsky of old.
5-on-5. Last year, the Lightning gave up 190 goals. This year, 141. That is an alarming difference between the two 5-on-5. Before I let you go, Ed, let us know what you got up on right now on TampaBay.com, Tampa Bay Times, and I'm sure there's some stuff on Connor Geeky in there.
You got some geeky,
Got some geeky.
Oh, I read. I will never stop writing about Connor Geeky. I think he's such a good kid, and he's just like so forthcoming with stuff. And I think he's learned a lot about, just in the past month. The way he treated the demotion to Syracuse and what he got out of it has been pretty amazing. I do have season preview stuff coming. We've got like I said, a story on Vasi. I was able to catch up with him on the road on the last road trip. Just kind of going a little bit into more of like what this defense looks like now versus the past couple years, why they've made those tremendous strides. And like I said, a lot of it has to do with Ryan McDonough and kind of the trickle down that his return has made for the other guys too. I have something on coming up during the playoffs on Jake Guentzel, who really, guy amazingly, like, really don't write a ton about, but all of a sudden he has 41 goals.
Quietest 41 goal season I've ever seen in my life.
He led the NHL in power play goals and everything like that. And I think you've talked to him. Like, he's not a great quote, but I kind of went up to him about just kind of because this was kind of, the playoffs were kind of his coming out party when he was a rookie, right? I mean, he had that stretch on that Penguins team that he might have been one of the best players on the ice among a bunch of great ones. So,
right.
Just for guys who are going into this thing, what's important, what's because it all changes, right? It's an entirely different atmosphere. Everything's magnified. Your mistakes are magnified. Your successes are magnified. So, I sat down a little bit and talked to him a little bit about that too. So we'll have that coming too. It all depended, on when this dang series started. I had to slot out all these stories. I thought initially it was Sunday, then it was Monday, now it's Tuesday. So I got a lot of space to kind of stagger all this stuff out.
Jeez, man, pretty wild. It's going to be nuts. I think you look at what the Lightning did to improve their roster last year and what Florida does not have compared to what they, won the cup with last year. I don't think enough is being made of the impact of Jake Guentzel and Ryan McDonough and Moser and a healthy Andre Vasilevsky. I feel like the Lightning somehow, some way might be flying under the radar a little bit going into this postseason. And
one thing to mention, sorry to interrupt you, Jay.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I did talk to someone who did say that the Lightning should be considered one of the sleeper teams kind of coming into the playoffs and maybe people aren't talking about. And that's because all the metrics really show that in terms of like, and this is kind of hockey nerd stuff a little bit, but like the expected goals, the grade A's allowed and stuff like that, that since that January stretch, that, what was it, like 20, like, was it 16 games in 28 days or whatever it was. But since that point, there's been no other team that's put up the kind of numbers, that they have. So, in one of my stories, I have someone saying, a pretty prominent, analytics guy saying, this is the Lightning are a team other teams should really be scared of because of what they've done since that point on throughout the season.
You ready for Bo Cuppers, buddy? Are we going to a new spot? New spot? Are we getting a new spot?
What do you mean? Yeah. Oh, the Bo Campers?
Yeah.
Well, you've been to Flanagan's? That's a good spot too.
Yeah, Flanagan's is good too.
Flanagan's a good spot too. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many spots out there. It's just a matter. 8:30 start. We're not going to be able to get anything after. But that's here.
Yeah, that's here.
Yeah, they don't have the times for. They have times for Game 3 is 1. Is that right? 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So how does that work? When do you go down? Saturday? You go Friday? Friday, obviously, right?
I'll go Friday. I got dinner. That time.
We'll do Friday night dinner with Double E. All right, brother. Ed Encina, make sure you guys subscribe. Now's the time. Now is the time. The Rays in full swing. The NFL draft right around the corner. USF doing so many great things. And Lightning postseason hockey is upon us. You want to subscribe right now to the Tampa Bay Times, tampabay.com/sports. Ed is, you heard him. He's firing out stories. He's got stories in the chamber. He's like the smoking guns from the early 90s. He's not Bart Gunn. He's Billy Gunn, not Rockabilly, badass Billy Gunn, and also smoking guns Billy Gunn. Ed, I appreciate it. Are you going to join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock to talk some wrestling?
Yeah, man. I don't miss that.
All right, man. We'll have a full WrestleMania roundtable with Ed and David Shealy and Corey Long. If Corey can wake up from his nap in time, we'll have him on the program. Appreciate you, my brother. I'll see you, or I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Thanks, buddy. Putting up the one for the one and only Educated. He should do Educated just like Bianca Belair does the EST. The EST, I'm the fastest, the strongest. Ed should do like the Educated, acknowledged Ed. Shannon wants to know if he's going in costume. That is your question to answer, my darling, not me. I don't know what goes on at the Encina household, but happy birthday, Shannon, coming up next week on Earth Day on Tuesday. So yeah, this is where it gets good. This is my favorite time of year. Lightning playoff hockey. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like it. And I try to be objective. I try to look and go, I don't know. I don't know if I'm being objective or not, but I'm going to look at this bad boy right here. Look, come on. UT. I told my dad, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh man, the 813. Can't beat this. I love this. It doesn't get better than UT. I should have wore this the rest of the show. It's so funny. I told my dad was like, oh, your Recher Reveal stuff is doing well. Make sure you put the stuff on. And I'm like, yeah, I talked to my dad today. Got another one today. I'm going to put it on. I totally forgot to put it on. I was so excited about everything. And then, of course, we were talking about the shooter at FSU, and I totally forgot. So everything, I should put everything on next time. UT, I love you guys so much. This is so awesome. UT is the best. Again, if you want to be a part of Recher Reveals, hit me up on Twitter, on Instagram. Let me know. Yeah, I know Tampa Catholic baseball sending something as well. We're putting on for our city. 813, as always. A big thank you to everybody who joined us on the program today, including it was just Ed Encina today, right? Yeah, because Forrest couldn't make it. So Forrest will be with us tomorrow, trying to get Dougie Wechter on tomorrow, and of course our WrestleMania Roundtable at 1 o'clock. Follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. I am also on iHeart. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Spotify, Apple, everywhere. Okay. I need you guys to I need you to download the audio for this stuff. And I need you to share this on your social media, because that is the only way that this bad boy is going to grow. And if you keep spreading the word. All right, Manchester United at 3 o'clock today against Lyon, Europa League quarterfinals. Please, for the love of God, I've watched so many crappy soccer matches in my adult life. You're home. Please win this game. Please, for the love of God. Please. Please win. I have to be so objective and subjective working in the media. And there's very few teams that I actually cheer for, that I can cheer for and be a fan for. Manchester United is one of those teams. Please, today is the day. Please win this freaking game. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all. I appreciate you all. Back here tomorrow at noon. It's the Friday show. It's right here. It's the Recher Podcast. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gone.